Hey guys, so today I got a customer bought a van. It's a Chevy Astro, and it's a 1997. It was parked for 3 years. If you look under the hood, hope there's no raccoons under here. So gotta make sure there's no raccoons under the hood before I try to fix this car. So raccoons and rats. So I try to jump it, they don't want to start. So the guy said all the brakes are locked up. So he does a cleaning business, so he want a van to move around his stuff. You know, you gotta make money, I gotta make money. If you look at it, it looks a little bad, but he knows. So what I'm gonna do, first thing I'm gonna do, I gotta make sure the engine is, the motor is not seized. I don't want to fix his brake and stuff and then the motor seized. So I'm gonna try to get the car started first before I recommend, you know, the other stuff, the brake, rotors, whatever it needs, oil change. So I gotta push it in, I don't want to start. Gotta push it in, put it on the lift. The first thing I'm gonna do is check the starter, see if there's power going to the starter. Once there's power going to the starter, I know it probably have a bad starter, or the engine is seized. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's see what's gonna happen with this Chevy Astro. Hey guys, so after doing a visual inspection on the car don't have any brake, but I did notice there's two brake line here from the master cylinder that goes to the ABS pump right over there. They're leaking, so this car don't have any brake. Doesn't look all that bad. The starter's right here. So in a few minutes I'm gonna see if there's power going to that starter. I actually did turn the motor, the crankshaft fully, and it turns. So that's an indication that the motor is not seized. So if you look, a lot of miles, 240,000 miles. So I don't know what this guy's getting into, but you know, you want to fix it up, I don't have a problem. Got new shocks. You can see all the dirt and leaves and everything here. It's been sitting for a very long time. So my next step here is to check the starter, see if power is coming to the starter. Got some oil leaks. If you look at this, it turns. I don't know if you can see it, but so as you can see, I hook up my jumper box, and I got my tester on it also. I got 12 volts. So I'm going to put it up and see if I'm getting power to the starter. Got my starter right there. Getting power. There's the power, there's the signal from the ignition switch. Crank it, Danny. Crank it. Yeah. Start it up. Nothing? So I'm not getting power to the starter. Try again. Try again. You turn in the keys, right? No power to the starter. I'm gonna try to jump it. Put the keys on. Put the ignition on. So the car starts, but I'm not getting no power to power from the ignition switch to the starter. So maybe there's a relay problem, there's a switch problem, or it could be a wire is broken somewhere. So I'll have to take a look at that. See, there's a lot of smoke in the exhaust. It's because the brake fluid is leaking on the exhaust, and it's hot and it's smoking like crazy. And this car didn't start in like 3 years, so at least it started very easily. So I'll have to figure out why I'm not getting power to the starter. So I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. Look at that. Oh, and there's no raccoons. There's no raccoons in the car. Hey guys, so this is my wiring diagram. As you can see, this is the ignition switch right here. So when you turn the key, it actually sends a signal to the fuse, a 40 amp fuse, which is this one right here, 40 amps. Got power. And from the fuse, the signal goes to the relay. The relay have 4 pins. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay guys, so the relay have 4 pins, which are 85, 86, 87, and 30. So if you look at the side of the relay right here, there's 85, 86, 87, and 30. So what I'm missing is a power from the ignition switch. This part of it is okay. This is when you turn the key, it's supposed to engage the relay and it's supposed to start the car. So if I put power here, the car is going to crank. See that? Car starts up. So that part of the circuit is good. From the relay to the starter. This is the ground. This is the, if you look on the diagram here, this is the ground part of it. This one right here is the power. That's good. So hey guys, so I just want to do a brief explanation how the system works here. The thing is, if you're working on a car and you don't know how a relay works, or you don't know how the ignition switch works, or the park neutral safety switch, you won't be able to figure out what's the problem with the car. So I'll explain to you how this system works. So that's the only way you could know how to eliminate the problem and eliminate certain things within the circuit and find the problem. So this is how the system works. So this is the ignition switch right here. So when you turn the keys to the start position, this is power, like this is the ignition fuse. It's a 40 amp fuse. So when you turn the keys on to the start position, it sends powers all the way to, there's another fuse here underneath the under the steering wheel. Send powers to the neutral safety switch. That's on the transmission. See, it says park, reverse, drive, and everything. And then from the neutral safety switch, it sends power to the starter relay. So based on this here, or this is how the relay works. A relay works with 2 powers. Like this pin right here is supposed to get constant power all the time. This red wire, which is A6, and I'm thinking this pin is pin number 87. If you look at this relay, see this pin number 87. 30 is the load, 85 and 86 it's power and ground. So what you need on this relay, it's, see this right here, this is the ground. This is the ground side of the relay. This is the power from the ignition switch. So my situation is I'm not getting power from the switch to the relay. So I eliminate this part of it. I was getting power here. I'm getting the ground. I have the circuit is complete to the starter. This is the starter over here. So my situation is I wasn't getting power to this point. So how the relay works is once there's power and ground, constant power and ground here, this relay, this part of the relay have windings, windings which create a magnetic field. So the magnetic field would attract this point. That's why you hear a relay clicks when you turn the keys, or when you turn the compressor on or something. The relay would click. The reason for that is because power is coming here. There's always ground. Power is being injected to the relay. So once the magnetic field is created, it attracts this point here, and it goes click. So once it goes click at this point, the power goes through the system and goes straight to the starter. That's how the starter would start. So my situation on this car, this part of it was good. The starter part of it was fine, because I had cranked this, I had jumped this point and the car started. I checked the wiring up to this point, it was fine. I had a ground. I had this power all the way here. So I was missing this power, because the relay have two power. So I was missing the power from this point of it. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna have to take the steering column off, take the covers off under the steering column off, and check this part of it and see what's going on here, see why I'm not getting power at this point in this area. So it's between the I'm not getting power in between the fuse and the ignition switch. So I'll check that out. Hopefully you guys understand, and hopefully, I'm not a teacher, but I try my best to explain how the system works. Hopefully it helps somebody. So if you look at the panel here, it seems as though, I don't know, somebody was working on this thing before. They probably were trying to start it up. So I have to take this cover off, take the other cover off over here, and see when I turn the ignition switch on if it's sending power to the fuse box. Hey guys, so what I did, I took the cover off from the ignition switch. The key's right there. So when I turn this key, based on the diagram, when I turn this key and it's in the start position, it should send power, the power from here should send power to this fuse, which is a 10 amp fuse, and that's underneath the steering wheel, which would send the power all the way to the neutral safety switch, and then should transfer it to the relay, then to the starter. So I'm gonna turn the ignition on and see if the power is gonna be transferred to this it's a yellow wire. So we'll put this here. So this yellow wire coming out, need another hand. I'm gonna stick this right here into that yellow wire. So once I turn this, I'm not getting no power. Saying 12 volt on the tester, but I'm not getting no power. So what I'm trying to figure out is why I'm not getting no power from the yellow wire, from this yellow wire to the fuse. So this is the crank fuse, which is a 10 amp fuse, which is the fuse number 8, which is under here, which is this fuse. This is fuse number 8, this is 7, this is 8. So as you can see, the fuse is good. So if I put power on this fuse, it's supposed to start the car once the ignition is on, once the circuit is complete, from this fuse box to the fuse box under the hood to the relay. So I'm gonna put power on this and see what happens. See that? So the car did start. So my problem is between the ignition switch, which is here. It's between the ignition switch to that fuse. But this yellow wire, if I put power here to this yellow wire, based on my diagram, this should start the car too. It's not cranking. So there's probably a broken wire from here, from the ignition switch all the way to the fuse box. So I gotta check the circuit on that. Or it could be so I'm thinking there's two problems too, because when I turn the keys, power is supposed to come on this yellow wire on the pin, and just turn the keys and I'm not getting no power too. So there are multiple problems here. First I'm gonna check to see why I'm not getting power. Actually, I'm gonna check this wiring first and see if it's broken anywhere, and then I'll have to figure out why when I turn the switch I'm not getting power at this pin right here. So I'm gonna check that out. I'll be back. Hey guys, so after taking off this cover and tracing this yellow wire down all the way to it, there's a fuse block over here. This car has a remote start in it, so I think that's my problem right there. I'll have to disconnect this remote start. It says Viper on it. So once I disconnect this remote start, I'll just put everything back to original. See right there? So I think that's causing the car not to start. That's gonna fix my problem. So I'm gonna take it out and let's see what happens. So this is the box that I gotta take off, and it's all connected to the ignition harness. So I did the yellow wire already. This one right here, I just joined it together. So I'll have to take this out. I have maybe another 15-20 minutes to put everything back to original, to normal, and we'll crank it up, see what happens. Hey guys, so after disconnecting all the wiring, the ignition, the relay for the remote start, so right here, this sucker right here, see that? That's the remote start. I'm gonna crank it up, see if it's gonna start. Let's see. Let's pray it's gonna start. Hopefully I didn't cut any wrong wires. So turn the ignition on. That's it. Car's fixed. I just gotta put everything back together. That's normal. I'll let the guys fix the brake lines and everything else, and customer should be happy. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this video help somebody.